Hey, there I am. How the heck is everyone? All right, hang on a second. One more. I gotta get my lighting right. I look terrible. Guys, away from the studio for a week, and you'd think that I was completely new at this. Hello, Heidi. Thank you for stopping in this evening. All hail the Bards of Greyhawk. Video should be working now. Everything should be hunky-dory. How is everyone? I hope you've all had a good week. First of all, I want to say that this is just an open Tuesday live stream. I'm still just coming down from things. I'm still just kind of winding down from Garycon. So we will pick up the AD&D next Tuesday. We're still going to play Gamma World, and we're going to see what Kyle's got going on tomorrow night. But we do have a busy week. I have got, I know, Ricky, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Vile Necromancer. Hey, Vile Necromancer. I want to jump straight in and say I met Vile Necromancer in person, and he is a brilliant fellow. If you guys look at the thumbnail for this video, you might note there's what looks like a little piece of terrain. It's a 3D printed gaming table that Vile Necromancer printed up, painted, and gifted to me and Mrs. the Dungeon Delver. It is a beautiful piece of tabletop wonderfulness, and it's just so cool, guys. It's got tiny dice and tiny character sheets. He did it with PLA. He did it with the string. That's not resin. Okay? I'm happy if I can approach that quality with resin. This guy did it with string. I am just floored by the quality of it, and I thank you so much. So much. Now, I'm gonna brag on this young man a little, and I'm sure Mrs. Delver, when she's on the stream later this week, that's right, she's gonna come on the stream. Excuse me. But she's gonna gush too. But this young man, let me tell you something. I'm not gonna mention ages or anything. I have shirts older than this young man, and I don't mean that by way of insult. I just do. He runs multiple old school AD&D games, guys. He never, ever doesn't do it old school style. All right. Don't think that it's just a bunch of neckbeards out there. Don't think that we're just a dying breed, because we're not. All right. And right there, Vile Necromancer is living proof of it. He is an incredible young man. And you know what? I'm going to have you on the stream one of these nights. Yes, I am. And he wants to do his own YouTube thing. So, of course, he's competition. And that means while I respect you and care about you, brother, I'll be sending a team of hitmen after you soon. That's a joke, YouTube. Don't demonetize me. It's not. Anyway. Ricky, you wear that neck beard with pride. So Vile asked how the flight back was. So we did basically a puddle jumper, like a little CRH 900, a little commuter jet from Milwaukee to New York that was super uncomfortable. It was like 8 minivans bolted together back to back with jet engines and wings strapped on it. However, our staff on the airplane was excellent. And then we got to LaGuardia, and I have to say, for all the general wonderfulness that the trip was, LaGuardia to Orlando was not fun. And I am I'm going to be having words with Delta. I've already talked to Delta, and they've escalated it. They have escalated it because we were not treated well by Delta, and we didn't get what we paid for. Mrs. the Dungeon Delver went through the effort of buying us upgraded seats, and it was an upgrade to nothing. You know, it was basically, well, we want to be 2 feet taller. Not a problem. We'll cut your heads off and you can stand on them, was the level of our upgrade. Vile Necromancer already has a stronghold. 9th level. That is scary. But you know what? I'm not going to talk about that. I just wanted to answer Vile's question. I'm going to talk about the positive things, some of the positive things, because I want Mrs. the Dungeon Delver on the show. So I will talk about the things that she was not present for, which would be Alan Grohe's game and a DCC game I played by a gentleman. I only caught your first name, brother. Morgan ran an amazing DCC game where I played Brock, the 4 intelligence fighter who burned to death. There were pyromaniac zombies that used an ad hoc flamethrower and burned poor Rock to death. But it's okay. Pretty elf lady, take care of Brock, pet mousy before Brock die. That guy ran a really killer game, and it was super close to the OD&D/AD&D experience. So I didn't feel like, ew, I'm not playing OD&D, AD&D. Luther was here last week, came back with nearly $100 of rum. Yeah, I know, Luther. I know. King on the Mountain, hello. Doomsword, greetings. But anyway, so I guess I will start off. Oh, and you know what? William Smith, I ran into William Smith. He was like the first person I knew that I saw at Garycon when Colleen and I were roaming around, because we opened up the dealer floor, by which I mean we were with the first deluge of people that went in there, and I saw William Smith, and we chit-chatted some, and I saw so many cool people. Alan Grohe, but William immediately said, because first of all, if you're new to the show and you don't know like how I like you know what Garycon is, and you're like, okay, well, people go to Garycon, so what? Back in February, I remember, because it was on this live stream, we had Heidi Gygax, I hope you're still there watching, or at least Eric or somebody is on the show, and they were like, oh, are you going to Garycon? Because we featured them and we talked about their module and their Kickstarter project. Are you going to make it to Garycon? And I said, well, no, I can't go to Garycon. Well, some people decided to say, ha ha, we'll show you who's not going to Garycon. And so my audience, that's you guys in the chat, so many of you got together with like just like a huge amount of people, and you all kind of threw in and you made this big thing happen. The plane tickets, the hotel, you all made it happen. And I still can't get my head around it in the sense of, wow. Hello, Sean Hall. Greetings. What an amazing thing that you did for me and my wife. So I didn't know until very close to the time that I was going to be able to make it. And then I bought the passes to the show, and pretty much all the cool stuff was filled up. Now, I'm upset that Alan Hammock had no, let me back up. Alan Hammock ran Ghost Tower of Inverness, and Alan Hammock is we love Alan around here, and we're going to have him back on the live stream real soon now. And Alan had open spots in his Ghost Tower game that I didn't know about. I'm upset at me for not searching that out. By the time I found Alan's Ghost Tower game, it was almost over, but I kibitzed in and I talked to Alan for a lot, and I ran into him a few times. Alan's a swell guy. But back to William Smith. William ran this. He ran an OD&D campaign over the course of the weekend, and basically as new groups would come in, they'd pick up where previous groups had left off. And I got to play a fantastic OD&D game where we won a treasure, and we got only got men-at-arms killed, which was a lot of fun. I saw the awesome Paul Stormberg. I want to give Mrs. the Dungeon Delver plenty of camera time. So I just got to go back. So William ran a great game. It was awesome to see him. Squirrel Hermit. Speaking of people who are awesome to see, Squirrel Hermit, I ran into him on Saturday afternoon, and we sat down and we played a pickup OD&D game with myself, with Kevin, and Squirrel. I believe it was your Scion who was there gaming with us, the missus, although she kind of didn't want to be there at my OD&D game. She'd like anyway. So so I sit down and I gamed with those guys, but I got unbreaded. So I played in William Smith's game, and it was an absolute blast. But on Saturday, right after I ran my just little improv OD&D game, that suddenly I found people kibitzing in, and I'm going to let Mrs. the Dungeon Delver tell that story because it's very cool and it's very wonderful. But some people kibitzed in. The guy, folks from the Glimmering, I am so sorry that, like, I saw Stephen from the Glimmering. He was there, and I didn't I saw him in the airport. I saw him in a distance at Garycon, and we never connected, and I'm so sorry. But Gripner Games, just awesome people. But I went over, I got into the DCC game, and then I got into Alan Grohe's first edition AD&D game. Oh my God, Uncle Brat, thank you so much. Thank you for that incredible super. Uncle Brat, you are awesome. You are awesome, Uncle Brat. Thank you so much. I so appreciate that. So, wow. Anyway, so I did that Saturday night. Ricky, thank you. I'm not getting game tips tonight, so I have a player tip. Thank you. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Uncle Brat. But anyway, greetings, Vincent. Sunday. I got up and I was all set, and the missus and I were going to have a wonderful breakfast and then go over to Heidi's and Eric's. We got up, had a kind of a mediocre breakfast because the restaurant that we DoorDashed from completely screwed my wife's order up. So I ended up giving her my pancakes and my hash browns. And I had their watery eggs Benedict that were like had heard the word hollandaise sauce said near them somewhere in the restaurant, because there certainly wasn't any actually on the eggs. So we left, or rather we got ready to leave, and that's when my wife's asthma said, hold up a second. Why don't you sit down? Kicking in for the second time because Friday we were supposed to do something with Griffith Morgan, and it kicked in then. So she bade me go on. I ordered an Uber up, and I went over, and I went to Heidi and Eric's house, where I was greeted with great hospitality. And now that I have fully played Till Death Do Us Part, I got to be careful and not say Till Death Us Do Part, which you can say it either way. It means the same thing, but Till Death Us Do Part is a song by Front 242, the Belgian EBM industrial band. It's an awesome song, but Till Death Do Us Part. And if I may be so bold as to say, they were incredible hosts, and they were both ruthlessly effective dungeon masters, running a rather good adventure that only cost one party member their life. The rest of us having a keen mind for avoiding traps and such dangers. We sent a goblin on his hopeful death down to the beach to jump in and fight a hammerhead shark single-handedly. We didn't disturb a great horde of bats hanging over our heads in the very cavern we found him in, and burned a spider demon to death with the use of a single burning hand spell from my magic user. But anyway, yeah, she has many. So, so we had a fantastic time. The food was great. The friendship was amazing. Every time I'd get a spotted cow down to about that much left in the bottle, I had a magical refilling bottle of New Glarus spotted cow, because I'd finish one and pop, a new one would appear there on the table, and I would drink it. And so thank you, Squirrel Hermit. So we played we played an absolutely amazing fun game all midday to early evening, and what can I say? Heidi and Eric are great hosts, and don't kid yourself. Heidi Gygax has got her dad's DMing skills. I've played D&D with her pop a couple, 2 or 3 times. It runs in the families. I didn't say I could drink as much as we, or I did say, yeah, you know, Heidi, you're right. I did say, because the fellow who is sitting to my left, by the way, I'm awful with names, so I'm going to say the guy who is sitting to my immediate left, and Heidi knows who I'm talking about, but I just gone blank. Said something about not liking spotted cow, and I said, well, I'll drink what he doesn't. And well, Heidi set about to making sure that happened. But we spotted and saw Jeremy. Yes, Jeremy. And by the way, Jeremy, thank you so much, because when we wrapped up, I was getting ready to summon an Uber, and Jeremy was like, I'll drive you back to your hotel, and he did. And that was an absolute blast. Heidi, I'm going to ask you something. Is it permissible? Is it okay if I mention Eric's bump on the noggin? I'm not making fun of him. Rather, quite to the contrary, I want to mention it with the appropriate gravity. But otherwise, I shan't discuss it. But and also, while Heidi's deciding whether or not to cancel me, no, I'm just kidding. While we went on, so Heidi says sure. So something really weird happened this weekend, and I talked about this on some of the live streams I did from up there. I don't really think of myself in terms of having fans, right? Like, I do this thing on YouTube, and I guess I know I'm talking to you guys. I guess I know I'm talking to you guys, but at the same time, at the same time, I don't know. I mean, 4,300 and how many ever 10, 12 people subscribe to the channel. But I'm like, you're subscribed, but I mean, are you like, I can't wait until Bill drops another video? Or it's like, yeah, I subscribed. I guess if he says something important or of interest, I'll know about it. And so when people come up to me and are enthusiastically happy to meet me, it really gives me pause in a good way. In a good way. And I had a few people do that this weekend. And I was, well, over the week. Did I get to ask Ty if he will run FFOT on stream? I didn't, but I will. I will ask him because I'm going to get Ty on the show. I'm going to get Ty Beard on the show. There's so many folks that I talked to about coming on the show. Coming up this spring, Jeff Easley, hopefully Darlene. Oh, and by the way, guys, she's in the Darlene's in the next phase of needing help with her house. So I'll talk about all of that in the week. I have notes, I have business cards, and I have everything else. Heidi should be a guest in again. That's up to Heidi. I know, she and Eric are very busy, but if they wanted to jump in, that would be fine. I would not object to that. But anyway, meeting people who like the show and know me just from YouTube who didn't know me beforehand is kind of a mind scrambler in a good way. And it was a pleasure to meet all of you. And I'll talk about some of that with Mrs. the Dungeon Delver because she was with me when we were meeting people. So the story about Eric and the bump on the head. We get to Heidi and Eric's house. A half an hour, 45 minutes in, Heidi's like, oh yeah, Eric hit his head. And he turns around and he's like, yeah, blood was everywhere. He turns around and he's got the injuries on the back of his head. Now there's a whole lot of blood up here. All right. Your head is basically a shaken up soda bottle of blood when it comes. But yeah, so he's got a head injury and we're like, do we need to stop? Does he need to go to the doctor? He's like, no, I'm fine. And he joked about it. He joked and riffed on it the entire rest of the afternoon, joking about having a head injury. And we would all chuckle about it. And we would joke with him about it a little bit. And, so this evening, I'm just puttering around. I have, and by the way, I've got like 9 gigabytes or so of video to dig through and edit together. And a few dozen pictures to share up, so I haven't even begun to share all this stuff. Did you bump your head, Eric? So yeah, he's like, no, it's I'll be fine, and we had a lot of fun, and I'll tell you guys about the car and meeting the Pirate Queen eye to eye. And I'm poking around social media. And Eric puts up a post, or maybe it was Heidi, but they put up a post. When Eric fell and hit his head, he slightly injured his head. He gave it a good scraping. You know, like I said, the noggin is a shaken up soda bottle full of blood when it comes to how high pressure it is. This evening, he revealed that he discovered when he fell, he also broke a rib off. So drifting around inside him is one of his ribs. As if I stub my toe really hard on the step up on the other side of the studio going back into the house proper, I have to take the evening off. Like, I don't do a video that evening, you know? And yeah, it was just, my goodness, man, you are absolutely a multiple hit dice creature, because that would have slain this commoner. What can I tell you? So it's outlined in the X-ray, which he posted up. This is not some inside baseball. If you follow them on YouTube, you'll see it's so. But to go back and focus on the positive, in addition to all this, I saw the coolest thing, and you guys will see pictures. If you're on the Discord, you can go on the Discord and see some of the pictures of this. This is one of the coolest freaking stories. So, and Eric, Heidi, jump in and correct me if I get the order of operations wrong. Tommy Dye, it's good to be back. Eric showed me this car. Now, it's a kit car, but it's still a very, very cool kit car. Okay. And kit cars of this level of detail are themselves expensive rarities, right? This is not like, you know, well, I bought a Honda Civic and put a wing and angry eye headlights on the front. This is a total conversion, like body of original car, fitments of original car, everything gone. Only thing left is drivetrain of original car. And it is a 1926 Mercedes Roadster kit built on the frame of, I want to say, was it a Maverick? Was a Ford Maverick? It was a Ford economy car from the 70s. Gary bought this car for Mary Gygax when TSR started getting big. It got sold off, went through a couple of owners' hands, and serendipitously, Eric found out that the car had been parked in a barn, was in good drivable condition, for sale. 1929 Mercedes Gazelle convertible from Classic Motor Works. Okay. So, thank you, Eric. So he had this car from her, and Eric tracked the car down, heard that the car was going for sale. Some person in Chicago had apparently drunk dialed a bid on it, but then decided he didn't want it, chickened out at the last minute, and Eric got it. So the car is once again in possession of the Gygax household. And fellow gearheads, it's a runner. I'm going to share some pictures and videos on the Discord of that bad boy, because it is not just some clapped out kit car. This is a nice little car. And I'm excited for them and about that. And I don't have any banners up. This is how slow I am in the uptake. And I do want to mention, of course, that, because we have a sponsor on this stream, and I want to remind folks that this stream is brought to you by Hellebarde Games. Hellebarde Games makes the RPGs that they'd like to play, whether it's for 5th edition, whether it's for OSR or Castles and Crusades. Hellebarde Games has an adventure that you want to play, and you can check them out at hellebardegames.com or on Drive-Thru RPG. That's Hellebarde Games. But anyway, so that's the story on the car, and I got to see it, and it's, man, that thing is great. That is a great vehicle. But to get back, Heidi and Eric ran Till Death Us Do Part, and we had a lot of fun. And we I burned one of our party members alive by casting fire into web spell, but it killed the demon that surely would have killed the rest of us. So I'm taking it as a W. And there's more to come when I'm hoping, I'm not trying to put them on the spot, but I am hoping. Oh, Eric, did you bump your head? I just saw that. Did you bump your head? But what I am hoping for is that when Heidi and Eric do the next phase of the modules, if they kickstart them, that they'll come on the show. I want to talk about their Kickstarter because I'm excited about it. And I mean, the point of good gaming is hanging out with people and having a good time. I don't fully embrace the idea. One of the most ridiculous things I ever saw on the internet was, I can't remember the guy's name now. I've mentioned it before, but it's not even worth. But he was like, you're not here to have fun role playing. It was just the most ridiculous nonsense, and I'm not even gonna go to that rant. The important thing is having fun. The important thing is having a good time. And snacks, my co-host points out, and snacks. And that's what we did. We had fun, and I had a lot of fun, and so I'm looking for the next fun thing to come from Heidi and Eric. And I was teasing Eric on Facebook Messenger today because Eric has a true first player's handbook. It was not Heidi's. Heidi's, I think she said, is currently packed away, hopefully to be displayed soon. But Eric has a true first player's handbook, and it was under glass. And I took a picture of it. And then today I said, oh, thank you. By the way, you being up in Lake Geneva, did you know there's plenty of places there where you could find rarities, rare treasures? Like, for example, I discovered this true first player's handbook just laying around and snapped it right up and brought it home with me. But of course, I'm just kidding. Paul, whom I also met at Garycon face to face. We didn't sync up on gaming, but that's okay because I game with Paul every Monday night on our Discord AD&D game, along with Canik. I met 3 of my almost a dozen players face to face this weekend, and Paul was one of them. But no, you're absolutely right. The G stands for game. My players don't die laughing with pretzel-covered bellies. There's a problem. Vile Necromancer, you got it right. My favorite snack is chips and onion dip. Guinness is my favorite beverage. There you go, Sean Hall. Don't start telling me what your favorite beer is, by the way, Vile Necromancer. That we don't, we're wholesome goodness. This is just water. Oh my gosh, what else? Well, ask me stuff, guys. Ask me questions. Nacho flavored Doritos and M&M's rock. If you're not having fun when you play D&D, then why are you playing? Exactly. Did my feet hurt at the con? You have no idea. I wore sneakers and my feet were killing me. My feet were absolutely killing me. It was brutal. When do you fight the treasure golem? Did I go? I was terrific at the table, as always, and are always welcome back. The other players were Pat and Melissa Kilbane, Jeremy Wilson, and Edwin Stallnecker. Okay, I will devoting that to memory. If you look closely into the camera, you can actually see the words falling out of my ear. Which is not to say I don't pay attention to. Is my computer running? So thank you. So we were playing in their game, but we were all playing halflings, and so we had fun. Halfling thief, halfling cleric, couple of halfling fighters, and a halfling magic user. Yours truly. And I had to bring my role-playing A game to Heidi and Eric's game, right? So you see, I gave my thief a rather funny little voice, a bit of a stuck-up, but also terrible adenoid problems, as we, rather not thief, magic user, yes, as we explored, and when I cast spells and I'd cast magic missile, and I would say the power words, Otis, Trappier, Sutherland, and release a magic missile directly at the enemy. Pat is finishing up the documentary, The Dreams in Gary's Basement. Very cool. Very, very cool. Vincent, if you're talking about the one that... yes, I had my... Courtesy of Heidi and Eric's catering, I had my first fried cheese curds, and they were delicious. I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything bad, but they were quite good. Okay, so you're probably talking about The Great Kingdom, which I have the trailer for The Great Kingdom. The original trailer is on my YouTube channel, and I think it's from 2014. That got wrapped up in legal problems between two groups of filmmakers. So The Great Kingdom may happen. I honestly don't know what's going to happen with The Great Kingdom. You would have to reach out to them. Did they squeak? Yeah, I think they did. Did I buy anything at Garycon? Probably too much. I'll tell you this story. One of my favorite pieces of D&D art of all time ever is who messaged me? Is Sleeping Drelsna from S4. I haven't showed you anything yet. Oh yeah. Well, the con loot I'm going to show when Mrs. the Dungeon Delver streams with me. She's watching a movie with the kids right now because Oh, Heidi, that's amazing news. That is fantastic news. Wow. Wow, wow. So you heard it right here on this stream, guys. The Great Kingdom may be coming very soon. Because they had reached out to me. I have an audio recording, my interview with Gary, and I have shared that with Heidi and the rest of the fam. They reached out to me and wanted to use some of that audio recording, but then they never contacted me back. I said, okay, let's go ahead and do that. And I didn't hear back from them. Yeah, we'll believe it when we see it. So hello, Dabnina. Well, I'll post a close-up of it when I get to... The guy's stuff is still in suitcases, but some of the swag that is not in suitcases, let me see here. I have this set of awesome dice, a D6 and a D20, from some fine folks at Gaxland. One Heidi Gygax Garland, one Eric Gygax Garland. And this is the D20, what won the game. Eric was so peeved when I rolled that knowledge arcana and just instantly knew what that one trap was. And I'm not going to say it because you guys got to get surprised by it. But I got these awesome dice. But anyway, back to autographs. Favorite piece of art is the Jeff Easley Drelsna in S4. And you guys know the one I'm talking about now. Grab my copy of Dungeons of Dread. Drelsna is like, as I've said before, I'm walking through a dungeon. Bob Jester, good to see you. I'm walking through a dungeon. I see that. I'm going to shrug my shoulders and say, you know what? I've had a good run, and go wake her up. But anyway, forgot this. Forgot my copy of the softback module. There's Jeff Easley. So I ran over to Black Blade's booth where they had the print-on-demand copy of this for sale. And I got the... I see that smirk from Eric. They had the print-on-demand copy of S4 for sale. Yeah, maybe you would, John. And I took it over, and Jeff signed underneath that. So I now have a print-on-demand copy that's not effectively disposable. I also took that over. Errol signed the cover because, of course, there's the Bay here is on the cover, and I hope that lasts. I'm afraid the ink will rub off that high gloss cover on it. So once I get it unpacked, it's going to go on a shelf and not get used. I'll use this or my actual physical copy of the module. Lost Caverns of Sojkonth is hands down one of the best D&D modules ever made. Now, don't just say that because I've got some weird, sexy female vampire fixation. Wait, who said that? Is this some audio problem? You guys picking up a little noise? Anyway, also from him, you guys have wanted me to review the U series for a while, right? Well, I think it only fair to review a thing if you have a physical copy of the thing as well as a PDF of the thing. So Alan, I bought from Alan the U series and then forgot to pick them up from him. He set them aside for me, and I forgot to get back around to his booth and pick them up. So we're gonna. He's gonna bring those to me, and he's gonna ship them to me, I should say, and then we're gonna do a review and deep dive of the U series because you asked for it. I bought a t-shirt. The missus bought a t-shirt. She got a pink one. I got a black one. I got a couple of goodies for friends. Oh boy, what else? I found it. There is a vendor, and I'm going to talk about this when I get their business card out. I walked up to the guy and I said, "So I got 3 questions for you. You guys sell candles and soap, sort of D&D themed candles and soap?" He's like, yes. You know. I said, "Do you also sell RPGs and stuff?" He's like, "Yeah." And I said, I see you've got board games. Do you do RPGs and that sort of thing?" He's like, "Yes, we just brought board games this time, but we do." And we kind of walked around at the end, and he's got some small press RPGs over there. And I was like, "That's cool. That's very cool." 3rd question: how have you guys had a shop 5 miles from my house, and I'm just now finding out about you? I had to come all the way to Wisconsin to find out about a local game store that's like 5 miles from my home. And the guy was stunned, of course, that, you know, right there. Florida represent. The Wisconsin to Florida axis is strong. So I chatted with him. Didn't purchase any of their wares because, like, a candle could you know get crumbled in luggage, or, you know, a glass jar that it was in would break. Did I get any of the Otherworld minis? No, I did not. Vile, I sure did not. I should have, though. I should have picked up more minis than I did, but you know. Shame. That's the only shelf of glory. But on my my Dungeon Master screen, I got Errol's autograph. I got his autograph in Deities and Demigods. I got Darlene's autograph in Deities and Demigods. I got Jim Ward's autograph in Deities and Demigods. I got Dave LaForce's autograph and a drawing in Deities and Demigods. So that was quite a rush. That was quite a rush. Cell phone says 4-1. Shame. I like those odds. Yeah. No, I love Otherworld minis. I really do. I didn't think. I was so sad that Effin' Cool did not make it to the con. The space for their booth was there, but they were not. I was so looking forward to Effin' Cool. I saw some people who had Effin' Cool minis, but I didn't see them. Aha, but you see, Gaming with ADHD, I just keep one printed mini ahead. If that's the truth, if I live until I'm done painting, I just keep one printed mini ahead of that. You know, oh, well, one is printing. And we had a fun encounter with Darlene up in the Greenbrier conference room area, but I'll let the missus tell you about that when she's on the stream later this week, since she did all the heavy lifting talking to Darlene there. And what else? A Bill's Corner of Mini. Some of my oldest videos I talked about minis. Now, this is something that a lot of you probably missed, but once upon a time, what is the name of that company? I've gone blank. I can see them in my mind's eye, but they actually got into a legal spat with Wizards, which is why you never saw anymore. But there was a company that was making classic resin mini set, not resin like resin printed, but resin cast mini sets. No. This is like 2011, 2012. They made these. Gale Force 9. It was Gale Force 9. They did these resin minis. They did the Slave Lords of Sudurham. They did a Drelsna like leaping off of her coffin at a dwarf warrior for S4. But if I'm being entirely honest, I didn't like the Drelsna sculpt. It was ugly. It was ugly. Reaper makes what is effectively Drelsna, down to the way her armor is described and carved that's way prettier. But they made these casts of the minis, and I bought the Slave Lords, and then they make I'm trying to think. He's in S2. He's the Ogre Mage. Kesnef the Ogre Mage, and him in Halfling form. And I talked a lot about those. They're kind of unobtainium now. I'm not a collector, so they didn't stay in their box on their sprue. They're put together and sitting on the shelf of shame awaiting paint one day. But yeah, you got you got a bunch of a bunch of the classic things there, and I guess there was just some kind of generic ones like there. Here's some drow, and I think there's Loth, but in Drider form. Guys, Loth is a god. It can appear what it wants to as, but she was never described as having a Drider form. She was either a hideous bloated spider, but with a beautiful woman's face, like the Yorogumi from Japanese myth, or she can appear as a beautiful drow maiden, elfin maiden, or human maiden. That's what she do. She doesn't do the Drider thing. The Drider thing is a curse for certain drow. But anyway, so they did those, and then they did some from Forgotten Realms. That ain't really my jam, so I didn't pay attention to them. But as that was kind of going on, they ended up in legal battle with Wizards of the Coast, and it all just kind of came crashing down. The details are great, but the plastics, yeah, they were not well constructed. For what I got them for, the price at the time, they were pretty good. But honestly, you could print resin and get better quality. And there's a capsule mini review. I reviewed Otherworld minis and so on and etc. I could talk about them off and on. So wow, what else? I'm about out of water. I don't have anything to drink. Heidi, could you hand me a spotted cow right over here? Just please. Gosh, what else? And I've only kind of scraped the surface of just talking about having fun with Heidi and Eric, and but I met a lot of swell people. I really, really did. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. Saw the Big Show head out of a game of Hyperborea. It was something to behold, definitely getting large creature damaging range against that man. I'm gonna, let's see. I just got to do a thing here and copy a thing. All right, I've done a thing because I didn't want to forget a thing. Oh, and you know what? I gotta give a special shout out to somebody here. I don't know if you want me to use your real name, man, but hang on. Where are you here? Where's your comment? I'm gonna just have to. So, I struggle with close-up reading. It's not like it's not like some tragedy. It's just I'm old. I have old eyes. It's tough for me to focus on things up close. But Squirrel was playing in my OD&D game, like I said earlier, and he gave me a set of reading glasses. Like they're 1.5 power. He said, "Hey, I get these at the Love's truck stop. They're like, I think he said they're like $9 or $14 or something like that, and they're practically indestructible." And I really, really appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, I get it. But he gave me a set of reading glasses. And I really, really appreciate that, dude. That is amazing, and I really that was awesome. Now, yeah, these are 1.5s. They're not quite as well. My painting goggles are different. They sit this far from my face. They're for a different purpose, but I use them. Let me see if I can find these. I'm looking. So yeah, Squirrel was just like, "Oh, you can have these," and just handed the. I mean, to, like, give somebody glasses. Yeah, like, why am I not using these here now? I can see you guys. I can see you guys now, right? And again, they're 1.5s. They're 1.5s. And they're great. And I'll just put them up here, you know, and then spend the rest of the stream. Have you guys seen my reading glasses? But no, I mean, like, you can have my pencil. You can take this pad of paper. Here's my program. I'll go get another one. Here's my reading glasses is not something you really expect. But I feel like if I put these on, and I use them all weekend for various purposes, I feel like if I put these on, that for the rest of the stream, I should probably talk in this voice, like the halfling that I was running in Eric and Heidi's most illustrious and well-apportioned table. Yes, as myself and my fellow adventurers were enjoying the rather amusing diversion that involved caves and goblins and curses and all sorts of things. But, of course, whether I continue to speak in this completely outrageous accent is entirely up to you, the audience. I may do so or not do so. The first person to offer up another super chat, or those of you who have offered up a super chat, if you wish me to stop, you may order me to stop and say, please, I insist that you no longer speak in this voice, or at least someone else may jump in. If you're going to use that, put on a suit jacket. Corduroy jacket. What is it? Corduroy jacket with leather patches on the elbows. Oh yes! Yikes! But I should quite leave it up to the audience as to whether or not they would care to hear me conduct the rest of this live stream in this tone of voice. I'm not quite sure how long I could sustain it unbroken without jumping back into my normal voice periodically, but again, I leave it up to you. Bob Jester 28, I'm in the kitchen listening as I burn supper and I hear Bill go into pedantic old professor voice. Oh, mercy. I need tweed. Yes, well, they don't make Led Zeppelin shirts in tweed, and I'm rather afraid that I'm quite comfortable wearing the Mothership's collection when I'm on stream sometimes. You're good with me. I, too, am good with you as well. Eric says, why are you writing the special characters? Heidi was mimic. Oh, Eric, I didn't need to know that. I need to DM in this matter. Perhaps I shall. Perhaps the Tuesday Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game going forward, I shall use this voice to run my Advanced Dungeons and Dragons games. Not quite James Mason, not quite Peter Sellers, not quite David Attenborough. Yeah, I can't. I cannot pull off a David Attenborough. You'll have to deal with this voice. Oh my God. Oh, and I have to. This is something that it's. None of you have stopped me. None of you have voted to stop me. Therefore, I have no choice but to continue. I've stated before regarding this show, it is rather tedious technical needs for bits and bobs to help get through the show with technological proficiency that an additional camera would be of great use. One might think that such a thing would not be beyond my means, but beggars cannot be choosers, so I bet the lovely and talented Canuck one, also known as Sapphire, on our Discord, which is a method by which we communicate over great distances. She was kind enough to bring yet a third camera to the show to use so that I might show you my dice rolls as they happen. Its appointment and connection and mounting will, of course, all come in at later times. As I said, I'm rather thrashed out from the travel, and it will be a while, but I promise you soon you'll know that I strike true when I slay the lot of you in our live stream Dungeons and Dragons campaigns right here on this very channel. Kyle is rethinking his co-hosting tomorrow. I don't know whatever would compel you to rethink your co-hosting. Kyle is from the Tasmanian state of Australia. And of course, if you do not know Kyle, then you haven't been watching this channel very long. He is a fierce and formidable dungeon master and runs quite amazing games of classic travel, although we'll be shifting gears to the gritty realism of modern-day shootouts involving mercenaries and angry hostile locals and machine guns and such. Rather looking at Jason Crumb, due to exhaustion because of a rather lengthy and uncomfortable flight from the city of New York here to the sweltering jungle climes of Central Florida, we have decided to abstain from a live stream of Dungeons & Dragons this evening. The more you say that you can hear James Mason, the more will begin to creep in, and I cannot help that. Please review chapters 12 and 13 as show a deep dive into the culture of the Drow and the impact on Elven society. Doomsword himself becomes drunker. Well, as you may, sir, but I am unfortunately a bit of a teetotaler today. I consumed enough alcohol in Lake Geneva to rather drink myself to a state of inebriation such that I do not feel it necessary to consume anymore, at least for the next couple of hours. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing that. That's it. I hope you're all satisfied. No one tweeted at me to stop. The best thing about HeroQuest is the board. Some games rely on tile systems and geomorphs, and what of those of us who don't have tables big enough? Put it on the floor, you say. Well, what about those of us with back, neck, and face problems? The Lake Geneva area is still a hotspot of RPG culture. Now, of course, with Heidi and Eric being at the forefront of a new games empire, I am sure that once again it shall rise to prominence and wrest that from the false pretenders and wizards of the coast. I didn't read your post if I continued to talk like that. Well, I would hate to lose collecting chaos, so I'll stop. I'll stop. Oh, mercy. So yeah, that was the halfling professor for the game at Heidi and Eric's. Oh my gosh, let's see. If someone messaging me. Oh, fear not. Sapphire just messaged me over in the Discord and said, hopefully you remember to pack the camera. It tucked very nicely into my camera bag, which is out on the table over there. But yes, I tested it out. It is it's quite the little jewel, and for what it's going to do, it will do just fine. I can't keep my sinuses voluntarily slammed shut like that to do that voice for too long, though. They'll glue that way, and then you'll be stuck with me. Even if I'm not doing the voice, I'll still sound like this because my sinuses are now like cramped shut. So I'm not going to keep doing that. Well, as I've said, and as I will continue to say, I only got to do this because of some marvelous, marvelous people. Vincent's playing a bard, so thank you for the inspiration. You're quite welcome, Vincent. And you know, I was telling Alan Grodog, I was telling him this today because I wanted to thank him for letting me just jump into his AD&D game on Saturday evening for just like, yeah, come on in, sit down and play. And by the way, if you get to Garycon again for the first time, whatever, get into a game run by Alan Grohe. Get into an AD&D game that Alan Grohe is running. You won't regret it. It is a lot of fun, and he is a ruthless and effective dungeon master. And I can't recommend him enough, guys. I think he's awesome. But him letting me jump into his game, I call him and thanked him, just outpouring of thanks to him today. And one of the things. This brain of mine. So if you live in a big tourist area, I don't mean an area that occasionally, there's one or two spots that you can go into touristy things, because there's towns of like 1,500 people that'll have like a music festival and a week-long fair, that out-of-towners might enjoy. It's like, oh, well, this is the home of John Smith, and he invented the bucket, and we'll go to the Bucket Museum, and, it's like an 8-room story that got a grant, or a 8-room building that got a grant from the federal government. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess tourists come here to see this. But when you live in a place that is 24/7, 365 tourism, like Central Florida is, you get used to the idea of the things that folks go to do being just fixtures, just daily fixtures. When they first built Universal Studios in Central Florida, my wife and I were dating. We were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, but we'd blow off college classes because it's right up the street from a local university. And we'd go up. We had year-round passes. They were like $80. Because Universal at that time had like 5 rides and 2 of them wouldn't work consistently. So we'd go up, we'd ride Back to the Future 5, 6, 7 times because there were no lines in the middle of the day before tourist season started up. So, we'd ride Back to the Future a bunch, maybe Confrontation if it was working, and then we'd go back to class and just continue on. And then years later, we had, when we were married, this was in the early 2000s, the wife and I had, it was beautiful. Doomsword knows what I'm talking about, but it had, we had year-round passes in the early 2000s for Disney. And this is before our second daughter was born. And so my wife would be at work and I'd say to my little lovely 2-year-old Charlotte, do you want to go to Disney today? She'd, yeah. So we'd hop up in the car and, we'd drive down and we'd stay at Disney from 9 o'clock to when it got to like satanically hot, and then drive home, pack a couple of Granny Smith apples to gnaw on, some frozen bottles of water to thaw out and to drink a bowl in the car and that sort of thing. And it always, $20 for a plate of chicken nuggets and fries for her to nosh on, and maybe another 15 or 20 for a little Mickey Mouse tchotchke. And then we go home about what a little more than what it would cost me to take her to the mall and keep her entertained there. And so we'd go there and I'd people watch while she played in a little play place, or we watched a parade or ate our ice cream or whatever. I'd people watch in addition to watching her. And so many of the people around me, that was it. That was their lives had been building up to that. I'd hear English accents, Australian accents from other parts of the US, foreign languages galore. And I would always kind of think in the back of my head, the little part of our brain we can devote to other things when we're doing important things. Is this it for those folks? Did it all build up to this weekend? This week? Maybe they got the deep enough pockets that they're here for the month. Or maybe they're here for a day and a half and then they got to get back on that plane or ship or bus or train or climb back in their car. And this is just a fond memory. I'm just here as a shopping experience and a little play date with my kid. I can come and go anytime I want. This is an amazing one-time thing for them. And I was kind of on the opposite side of that this weekend. I don't know if I'll ever be able to make it to Garycon again. I don't. I'm not saying something terrible is going to happen. I'm just, But I thought about all the folks who are lucky enough to, just go. And it was kind of a neat feeling, in both aspects. All right, this is not like some Debbie Downer story, like, I'll never get to go again, so, That's not what I'm saying. I didn't think I was going to get to go in 2018, and my buddy Rusty just picked up the phone and said, dude, we're going to Garycon. We got to do it. I didn't think I was going to get to go this year, and you guys picked up the internet and said, dude, you're going to Garycon. Take your wife. You never know what turns life is going to throw you, right? You never know. And it was such a great time. It was such a great time, and I can never thank you guys enough for making it that great time. I mean, if there was some weird Svengali out there who just said every year, here's your Garycon money bill, go and have fun. I'm not saying you guys should do that, but I'm just saying if that happened, I would, it would still be an awesome thing. But it meant the world to me, being able to go And I mean, especially under the circumstances, because I got to meet Heidi, and I got to meet Eric face to face. You know, I got some great autographs. I saw some friends that I might not have ever gotten a chance to see face to face. Paul Bacleta there on the chat, Kennick, Alan. I've got to see Alan off and on again for a while, but I didn't know when I'd get to see him again. William Smith, Paul Stormberg, who's just an amazing dude, Griffith Morgan, fans just rocking up to me and being like, holy crap, you're the Dungeon Delver, you know? So yeah, Vile. Yeah, you're who I'm talking about. So it was pretty damn special. You guys, whether I met you, whether you just watched the show and cheer on, whether you contributed, regardless, you guys made it special. You guys made it so special, you know? And whether you're sitting there and just like, yeah, this is my con, you know, I go to this, I do North Texas, I go to Gen Con, I go to Origins, blah, 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 Dragon Con, World Con, a couple Comic Cons, you know, or whether you're just one lucky son of a bitch like me. It was really special to see you folks there. As far as Guac, you guys talking about the Guac, the great underground online gaming convention. I hope you guys will all consider coming. I will move it to make sure that it does not confusticate with NTRPG this year. When is the 24-hour marathon? In a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to lose all sense of common sense and probably going from a Friday to a Saturday. I'll start at like 10 o'clock on Friday night, or maybe 9 o'clock on Friday night, and I will go to 9 o'clock on Saturday night. If I were planning a trip to Garycon, how much would I recommend budgeting for the trip? Do you mean the trip? Dude, I'm terrible at like telling you airfares and car rentals. I mean, we stumbled into an amazing deal with Avis. Like, we were looking down the barrel of $600 to Avis or to rent a car, and we got a deal with Avis for like $200. So, you know, anywhere from $200 to $600 for a rental car. Flying, make sure I go to Garycon next year. Let's keep talking about it and make it happen. Sure, Eric. I mean, sure. I'll, you know, I'll I'll do my level best. But anyway, I mean, you can usually find discount airline tickets pretty cheap. So I don't know if you're talking about money to spend at the con, $500-$600. If you really want to just tear the roof off and buy lots of cool shit and eat really good food, and drink a lot, unless you go to Heidi and Eric's house and dare her to keep bringing you beers. Eric has a car I can borrow. But No, if you're gonna go up there and you're gonna get there like Wednesday night and leave Sunday afternoon, and you're gonna be eating, and so that's one thing I gotta say, and I hope Mrs. the Dungeon Delver doesn't mind me talking about this, because again, I want her to come on the show, and she will later in the week. One thing that I do want to mention is the food at the con was pretty affordable. The con burger, which is just a cheeseburger, and you could get your fixings off to the side, was very tasty. Happy beers at Happy Hour were a little more expensive this year, but overall still very much. You're serious. Heidi's sitting here next to me laughing and nodding. You find me to be quite tolerable. I mean, dude, just be in touch with me. Just, we'll work something out if you want to do that. I would look like Doctor Who in that car. But anyway, the con food was good, and it was fresh. Like, it was good. Like, if you just want and it spans the whole range. You can get like a salad, like a chicken salad or a Caesar salad that's just like, tomatoes and a little bit of dressing, or a whole, like I said, a hamburger, hot dog. They had walking tacos. They had chili, soups, all sorts of stuff. They had a pretty complete menu at the food stations. I didn't really feel like it was completely unreasonable what they were asking for. And when you got meal deals there, they were pretty good. I need a velour cape. Why in the hell would I need that, Bob? Why? No on the first one, Jerome. Don't know about the second one. I honestly don't. I needed to be 5 of me. Like Mad Rocks, just pop off clones of me to go meet people and talk to people, because there are people who I know was there. Like I said, besides Bob Jester, if I would have anything to do with Doctor Who, I would be Tom Baker Doctor Who, right? The overcoat and the scarf and the nice natty hat. But time traveling enables that, yeah. The problem is, though, that I might bump into myself at a game table, and then we cancel each other out. We might cause quantum collapse, and then, But I need it to be Groundhog. Oh my God, Groundhog Day at Garycon. That could be heaven, or that. You'd get to a point where you would drive Dungeon Masters berserk. He's not going to make that roll. I'm not opening that door because there's a trap in it. The riddle at the end is the Black Dragon cries. Also, you're not using the weapon versus armor type table correctly. Imagine doing that to Paul Stormberg. No, I love you, Paul. I would never do that to you. Groundhog Con. Funniest game session. Funnest game session. Ooh, gosh, you are putting me on the hot seat, because I know for a fact that both of the people who game mastered me will at least watch a little bit of this stream. Okay, all tied for funnest. Tied second place for funnest, Alan and Williams. Funnest, Heidi and Eric's. Funnest and it was Heidi and Eric's. If paradoxes were possible, would I play in a game that I DM'd? I don't know because damn. Could I put up with me as a player? I don't know. God, I don't know if I could put up with me as a player. Eric would. No, Eric and Heidi have never seen me DM unless they've watched the live streams when I have DM'd. Would I be tolerable as a player in a game I was DMing? I don't know. That is damn. Asking the difficult questions. And Vile Necromancer owes me a game session. Yes, I'm sorry that didn't happen. So Vile and I ran into Vile. When did we meet? Was it Friday night? And then you and the missus waited while I was playing an Allen's game on Saturday night. And Vile was going to run a game Sunday afternoon after I finished over at Heidi and Eric's, and then I got back a text. It wasn't even that. You messaged me, I guess, about 1 PM Sunday, and said you guys had to head out. Okay, so it was Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday you guys had to head out to beat the snowstorms because snowpocalypse. Anyway, I'm sorry. I zoned out a little bit. So I'm still experiencing a little bit of jet lag, I guess. Vile Necromancer, he and his mom had to head out because snow is rolling across the plain. Storms, guys. I know y'all know about this. Just ripped up the South and the Midwest and everything. And I don't blame you guys for needing to dip out. We've got to. I'll get you into one of the virtual games or something one evening just to give it a taste there. Vile Necromancer, you can see how we run. Somebody was asking me earlier about like what I would allocate money wise. I would say $400 to $600 in 2023. 2024 next year, who knows? About 500 or 600 pesos, you should be fine. What is this? This is new layout, edit layout. I probably shouldn't play with those buttons while I'm actually live streaming. Yeah, that kind of cheesed me off. I did the improv live streams. What am I saying? All my live streams are impromptu live streams a few nights, and my phone on one of them was just like, nope, we're done. It wasn't battery, just the phone just crashed. So I had to scramble to fix that. So if you're new to the show, and I just want to give this a quick look. Oh, I was driving Mrs. the Dungeon Delver up the wall. It was like making her bananas. She's like, stop looking at your metrics. Not stop looking at your metrics because I was being rude or anything like that, but stop looking at my metrics because I was making her crazy with saying, I'm down I'm down a sub or whatever. But let's just see. Let me see. Let's look at the channel, YouTube Studio. Yeah, 4310. And I appreciate every one of you. I know that sounds very cliche. That sounds very well, it sounds very cliche. But I really appreciate every one of you. I'm a little off rhythm, a little scared. Yeah. I'm trying to stay focused here. And I'm also, see, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver has unique perspectives, and I did more than just the things that I'm telling you guys about. No, don't adjust your internet connection. That's just my voice going. Oh, Drone Swarm. No, it's not purely an RPG con. Board games, card games. Let me tell you what. Paul Stormberg's Legends of Wargaming. You want to play Chainmail? You want to play? You want to play just sand table Napoleonics games, diplomacy, fight in the skies. So many different games. And dude, bring a game. Sit down in the concourse, grab a couple of people, and you'll have a game going. Bring a copy of Dungeon. I promise you, if you bring a copy of Dungeon and sit down and set the board out and just ask a few passersby, hey, you want to sit down and play Dungeon? You're going to get people playing Dungeon. I taught your brother to hit armor class 0. That's cool. Siege of Bodenberg, yeah. Oh, yes, Tom Wham was there. And I'm going to let my wife tell her Tom Wham story. I'm not going to tell her Tom Wham story. But she has a fun, cute little. Who is Tom Wham? Tom did the original Beholder illustration in Monster Manual 1. That's not the original Beholder illustration. It was done by Kevin Bell or Greg Bell. Why do I say Kevin? Greg Bell in Greyhawk. But the one that most people know inside Monster Manual 1, Tom Wham, he did Awful Green Things from Outer Space, Snit's Revenge, Snit Smasher. He did the cover for the original Gangbusters. So many different games have been done by Tom Wham. The guy doesn't stop. You know, he wears engineer's overalls and an engineer's cap because, I mean, he engineers games, man. Mertwig's Maze, which I have bits and pieces of. I don't have a full set of Mertwig's Maze. And I thought, well, you know, I'll use these as extras and I'll get a copy of Mertwig's Maze. No, I won't. TSR Mertwig's Maze. Was Deathspire going on? I don't know. Drone Swarm, I honestly don't know. So, but yeah, no, dude, you can get in so many different games that are more than just role-playing games. Everything from chainmail games all the way up to whatever the newest version of D&D is, or other games. Should I ever get to go again, I may run Twilight 2000 for a session while I'm up there. If I have enough lead, if I ever get to go again, and if I have enough lead time, I will run Twilight 2000. Grim and gritty. I'll 3D print some 172 scale micro armor so we can blow up some tanks and we can have a good old-fashioned post-apocalypse adventure. Cyberpunk, maybe. It was sold in an AD&D 2 supplementary accessory box. I'll take your word for that, Bob. I think I still have the bits and pieces, but they're in one of the storage totes, which is under other storage totes. Like my 3D PLA printer over there is working as, or rather, it has 2 storage totes of RPG material. And the 3D printer sits on them as a table. Although it may be one box of computer crap and another box of RPG material, because I did sell Doomsword a huge tote. So it may have gone in there. It may be in there. It is a folio. Okay, so Twilight 2000. I'm fine, Mobius. Twilight 2000. let me show you guys the box set. I've talked about this before on the show, and I absolutely love this game. It's a brain buster to get your head around the rules, but once you know what's going on, it's just a simple percentile system. This is Twilight 2000. Twilight 2000 was written by GDW. They, of course, made the great the great Traveler, and it's the same authors. And for reasons that I would be here for another hour and a half explaining, this is 1E. This is first edition. But in Twilight 2000, which was written in the 1980s, you got to understand this came out in 1986. We didn't know that the USSR would be out of business in 4 more years. I mean, you know, just Gen Xers playing this game assumed, you know, we were one crazy Soviet premiere away from the apocalypse. And the GDW guys said, okay, well, let's take that idea that the nuclear exchange is bad enough to wreck the industrial and social bases, but the world doesn't wind up glowing green. You know, it doesn't end up like the road or on the beach where there's just no life anymore. And you have what's called a broken back war. And a broken back war is when both sides have been industrially destroyed and governmentally destroyed, but their armies are still in the field fighting each other. And this is that. And you play a group of U.S. soldiers stranded in Central Europe after NATO and the Warsaw Pact have slugged it out for years with ever escalating nuclear exchanges that have destroyed most of the command and control structures in the USSR, in Eastern Europe, and in Western Europe, and in the United States. Poof, they're gone. And you play groups of surviving soldiers trying to find a way back home because the navies have all been destroyed. Aviation fuel is so rare that the aircraft that are still functional they aren't flied for anything. They aren't flown for any reason except extreme emergency. And you being stuck in a swamp in southwest Poland, or southeast Poland rather, is not an extreme emergency. So you've just got to leg it home back to Germany, maybe get across the channel to what's left of Great Britain, and try and hop a tramp steamer back to what's left of the United States if that's what you want to do. So that's what this game covers. And before you go, well, that's all too grim and gritty, there is a dungeon crawl module available for this called the Black Madonna. There's no magic, but otherwise, I mean, there's traps, there's layers of monsters and that sort of thing. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. I'm running out of the ability to talk. Ooh, that hurts. Slycanthrope says that box set is 2 years older than I am. You've been trolling over that on eBay, Hard Time Gaming Floor. If you see one that is complete, grab it. Kingdom of Mertwig has an official location in the Forgotten Realms. That's interesting. I did not know that. Powerful Silencer says, I can't quit you, Russia. Well, to be fair, it's the 1980s. So, does anyone have anything else they want to talk about? I'll keep talking about it if you do. But I might take this and run some at Garycon if I get to go again, which I don't know that I will. Dang it. What is this show without me turning around to grab something and knocking something off the shelf? Morrow Project, yeah. Yep, Morrow Project. Dr. Invictus about to put me on mandatory tea and honey. The show is incomplete. No, I just dropped one. It's complete. It's complete now. I think this is probably where I'm going to wrap, guys, because my voice really is starting to hurt. So, first of all, I want to thank Eric and Heidi for being here this evening. Thank you guys for jumping into the stream. You are always welcome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to Ricky Maru and to Uncle Brat for the super chats. That is so generous, guys. That helps the channel so much. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And we'll be back. With more stuff about the show. There's going to be a catch-up part 2 with Mrs. the Dungeon Delver. Tomorrow night, Kyle is driving. And Kyle sent me a message here. What was it? What did he say? Kyle said it was good seeing me so happy geeking out. Well, it felt good. Now, Thursday night, guess what? Matt Finch of Mythmere Games is going to be here because the Kickstarter for the new Swords and Wizardry box has launched. You guys should all go find that, and you should all subscribe to it. So please do back his Kickstarter. I want his Kickstarter to fund. It would be cool if it funded on the show, wouldn't it? We all know how much fun that is. And I just paused and thought about all you guys mean to me and almost started crying. So clearly I'm exhausted and need some rest. But God bless every one of you. Seriously. Yes, Matt Finch is returning Thursday night. So be good to each other. We gamers are what we have. All right? We gamers are what we have. File is going live at 9. Everyone, what is your channel? Vile Necromancer. What is it called? Don't type the URL, but right now, when he tells us what his channel is, I want you guys to go and subscribe to the Vile Necromancer's channel. If you're in this stream, subscribe to Vile Necromancer's YouTube channel because he's an outstanding young man. I will feel better. I feel fine. My voice is just dying. What is it called? Okay, look up the Vile Necromancer on YouTube. There's 26 of you. Give him 20. I will be sorely disappointed if I don't see his sub count jump by 26 because he's a first edition AD&D DM. And then he deserves your attention. Everyone, have a lovely evening. I love you all. I mean that. I absolutely mean that. Every last one of you. I'm just going to let y'all see the end credits here. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to turn off that. And enjoy the end credits.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course. Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.